Hello, I'm Theodore Parker, and this is the Science Show. It's Friday, January 14th, 2022, and here, temperature is 32 degrees, feels like 25. Back into that cold snap. My suggestion is put the thermostat on emergency heat. Save yourself a few dollars possibly. And also keep warm. That's for everybody. Today I'm kind of thinking there's kind of like a little atmosphere on the news items. And no fizz, no fizzle. Djokovic in Australia faces deportation second time after Australia revokes visa for him to play tennis, and he is a top number one seed player in the world. The whole the crux of the matter was that he had violated COVID protocols. Some discussion as to whether or not he has been vaccinated. The information that's available for you, you can look at it. Playing tennis is really a physical type of sport. That being said, right at the time that all this is going on, Australia is experiencing 123.3 temperature, which is probably a record for the southern hemisphere, 123 degrees plus. So I'm not sure if he's missing anything trying to play tennis there right now or not. But COVID will out. We'll see what happens as that goes on. Supreme Court order firms a mixed vaccination rules health workers in federal facilities. You know, President Biden was strongly in support of any employers with over 100 employees that they should be vaccinated. And I could understand it. It was almost like a mandate type deal because that's a big enough crowd for this latest variant, Omicron, to be spread more, but it was put in place during the early parts of administration. Remember, now this has been a jam-packed year, for everybody. Once we start getting the vaccines for COVID-19 itself, then we got hit with the Delta variant, and inside that same year, we now have Omicron. And I have my own personal views on some of that, but it's the same as what general information is available, so it doesn't require a big raising of noise. But anyway, the Supreme Court, made up of 3 liberals versus the remainder being conservatives, decided that was a little bit much. So they are not requiring federal workers to do that much as far as being vaccinated is concerned, if I'm understanding it correctly. But what they did agree to was that healthcare workers in federal facilities should be vaccinated. So that rounds up to about 10 million compared to the 84 million that were originally included in the discussion. So you can take that for what it's worth, especially when so many businesses, agencies, things of that nature, and including the school system, is affected not just by a will to work. I don't think anybody does not want to work, subsequently receive money for their efforts, because that's a motivator to go to work and then get money and then get benefits. But people are calling out sick, staff shortages, and especially affecting healthcare workers. So you can only drive your body so long under extreme conditions or highly stressful conditions without you having to take a break. Not only for your physical self, but for your mental self. I mean, a car can do 120, but it's not recommended that you just drive it all day at 120. So we have the same set of circumstances. So, not in general from the Supreme Court, but specifically for federal healthcare workers, they will agree for vaccinations. Voting rights push fizzles as Biden fails to unite the Democrats. So here again, we have a situation where President Biden is trying to pass some legislation related to voting, but it's not unitedly supported, even in his own party. I guess they have their own specifics. I'm not going to cover all that, just give you the results. Senators Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin, who is the Democratic Majority Leader. Here we hear a lot from Mitch McConnell because he is the minority leader and he is from Kentucky. But for purposes of this discussion, Joe Manchin of the Democratic Party is the majority leader. So on Thursday, they were against changes to the Senate filibuster rules, spoiling President Biden's efforts to pass voting rights bills. So in the past, under discussions, filibuster required like 60 votes. But under the Biden administration, the filibuster was suspended. And there is some drawbacks to that. Significantly, most recently in history, the Civil Rights Bill was filibustered against, which is just filling the time on the floor with just filling the airtime, discussing anything. It's no rules or regulations, according to my understanding. I mean, you can discuss your grocery bill during the times you're filibustering if you want to. So without the filibuster, which has been suspended under Biden's administration, if there is a tie, then Vice President Kamala Harris would come in to break the tie. So there have been things incorporated such as this or initiated in use that changes how the government is run on Capitol Hill for the time that we are in these specific set of circumstances. Specifically, talking about hospitals again, Southern hospitals hit by staff shortages and record COVID cases. So since I am in the South, which I was thinking about the other day, Kentucky is a commonwealth. We only have like maybe 4 or 5 commonwealth states, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, Kentucky, and probably one other one. All the other states are union states, so it does affect how that state is run. Legislation passed, things of this nature, et cetera, et cetera. But as I look back, I've always lived or resided in a Commonwealth state. So here I am. Anyway, talking about things that we have enjoyed and will no longer be available, et cetera, from the government. Goodbye godsend. Expiration of child tax credits hits home. For the past 6 months, you can say thanks to the Biden administration, there's been a child tax credit and families have been receiving extra money every month, but they did not receive it in January. So it's been expired. President Biden did make an offer to want to extend certain things, but, Congress is not in agreement. So all this legislation, Congress sits in year to year, deciding upon, and Republicans, Democrats, Bernie Sanders is an independent, you have discussions. Yay, nay, I don't think so, why you want to do that, then what's going to happen, so forth and so on. So for the first time in half a year, families on Friday went without a monthly deposit from their child tax credit program that was intended to be a key part of Biden's legacy. Now we're at the point with Biden's administration where what's going to be discussed as far as spending is concerned is bridges. Biden's rolled out bridge spending, highlight administration's infrastructure efforts. Build Back Better plan. So all of that is included to the sum of $27 billion for bridges. And I think I know there's thousands of bridges. I did see the exact number, but it's up in the double digits across the United States that need work. Here locally, I'm just outside of Louisville. There's 2 bridges that are being discussed, for repaving, which is going on as I speak, according to my understanding. So we have a work in progress. Speaking of temperatures, Northeast braces for coldest temperatures in years. Coming out of Canada, I believe it's British Columbia. Snow targets the south and the east coast. So this temperature that I'm feeling, freezing and possibly getting lower than that, is from this cold front. I wanted to throw something else at you right quick. And this is kind of targeting veterans. President Biden, made a giant effort to kind of balance loss of jobs, health in the midst of this COVID pandemic. Part of that was suspending payments, student loans and things of that nature all came under discussion. But as, time moves on and things go on, as the expression says, it takes time to pay the piper. So these things are now coming due. Excuse me. Now, speaking to veterans and Veterans Administration, part of those things that were suspended was some of the payments for medical benefits to veterans. So if you received a letter, such as I have received, remarking on these things, veterans do the service, and part of that thank you for your service is a lot of medical care that you do not receive a bill for. But one thing that we really can't get away from is having to pay for medicines. Because somebody's got to make them, somebody's got to spend time doing it, they got to get paid in order for us to get them, so we got to pay something. But part of that, as most insured people in the world understand, is the copay. So for the past X amount of time, that copay has been suspended. So if you receive a letter telling you that you now owe, your eyebrows raise and your eyes widen as to the amounts that they are talking about, calm down. It's time to pay. I'm not happy about it, but I do have the service. I am a veteran, and it was suspended, but is now being called for. So there you have that in a nutshell. So over the next X amount of time, you will be paying that money that you owe. So just smile. Next, and I've known this for a little while, but I've just kind of held on to it because I didn't want to seem like I was picking on certain people. Excuse me. Females in particular, married, single, otherwise, no particular rhyme or reasons, just females. It has come out from the medical community that women who have received the vaccine have had their monthly cycle affected. Now, we as men know that the monthly cycle is a big part of the female makeup, personality, and otherwise. So if the vaccine has affected that, then we might find them just a little bit off. So now I'm giving you a reason if you have noticed that. All of us try to claim, no, I didn't notice, or I didn't notice a thing, all the same, you know, and that's wise. But I'm telling you, there is medical evidence that there is some reflection based on that from the vaccine. Next thing, watching the news here in Kentucky, Senator Rand Paul was called out by Dr. Anthony Fauci. Rand Paul has his own personality. I'll put it like that. So anyway, Dr. Fauci on the news is holding up a picture of him, and he's discussing with Rand Paul about misinformation tactics and things of this nature, because the picture of Dr. Fauci has several boxes on it to check. And it's asking people to donate to have Dr. Fauci fired. Now, I would be a little bit riled up myself if somebody was calling for me to be fired and I'm the highest medical consultant to the president in the country. But he didn't approach it like that. He said, you have boxes here checked, donate $5, $10, $20, and more or other, which is like a misinformation campaign that donating to have me out of office is going to affect what goes on with the virus or with the pandemic, if I'm understanding.